Hi, I'm Chuck Colson with this week's 2-Minute Warning. You've no doubt heard the expression, throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Well, the Air Force recently did something like that. Only what was thrown out is the moral guidance needed to restrain the use of the most terrible weapons ever devised by man. I'm referring to the Air Force's decision to suspend its Nuclear Ethics and Nuclear Warfare Seminar. The seminar was suspended after reports about what people deemed its excessive Christian content. Well, based on the reports, I got to admit, some of the criticisms are valid. Sure, it was a mistake the seminar mentioned Jesus as a mighty warrior, and it isn't necessary, to include frequent scripture references to talk about just war doctrine. That's because the just war doctrine is part and parcel of the very fabric of Western culture. Yes, Western culture just war tradition began with the reflections of Augustine about when military force is justified and when it's not justified. And yes, Thomas Aquinas contributed much to our notions of just war. But the idea that there are conditions that need to be met for a war to be just has been generally embraced by secular scholars and philosophers. And it's been used frequently, not only by church authorities, but by Western governments and leaders throughout the centuries. And the frequent debates about just war are not limited just to Christians. So, okay, throw out a seminar on just war because it's supposedly too Christian? That's absurd. Without just war theory, there's no way to even discuss, much less teach, military officers the necessary ethical framework for decisions they need to make. In other words, the Air Force overreacted. Fix the seminar. You can talk about the principles of just war theory in a way accessible to all, accessible to human reason. And that's the approach we take, by the way, with our Doing the Right Thing series on ethics. After all, you wouldn't think of suspending a class on criminal law just because someone put up slides saying, "Thou shalt not kill and thou shalt not steal." Removing all Judeo-Christian moral references or content from Western learning would be an act of cultural suicide, because Western civilization, the most humane civilization in human history, was built upon them. Likewise, we shouldn't let the misjudgments of a few be the pretext for keeping those entrusted with the most terrible weapons ever devised by man from understanding how and why, if at all, they're to be used. This is one baby you definitely want to keep in the tub. I'm Chuck Colson. That's this week's 2-Minute Warning.